Well, welcome back to our Project Plus playlist, and we are on Domain 2, Project Life Cycle Phases, which is 30% of the exam objectives. And we're on 2.1, Explain the Value of Artifacts in the Discovery and Concept Preparation Phase for a Project. So we're getting this right from CompTIA's Project Plus Certification Exam Objectives. I'll link to it down below. And once again, we're on Domain 2, just starting 30% of the exam. And we are all the way down here on 2.1. We're making progress. Let's go. So, business cases or business objective. So, when you're discovering or preparing a project, you're thinking about different things that will help. So, for example, is this going to make me money? If I put $5 in, am I going to get $10 out or 20? So doing the analysis of how much you're going to spend, understanding the project costs, adding in some variability if needs be, and also if it's going to the probability of it being successful, and the priority of it helping in other strategic things with the business. But still, even with all those, doesn't make money. That's one of the things that businesses will constantly ask. How's this going to make me money? Current state versus future state. So understanding where you're at and envisioning the improvements and then helping to map your way there. We often have to start in a place that we don't really necessarily like. And one way to see the progress going forward is envision what it should be and then try and make smaller steps to get there. Understanding how much it costs and what's the benefit going to be. So other artifacts that you need to consider. Are you using a pre-qualified vendor list? These are vendors that have met certain criteria. Maybe they're in your government, or maybe they're in your county, province, town, whatever. And you give them some preference, and you've worked with them before, and they meet certain needs, and so therefore you pre-qualify them. And some of the risks you've already reduced because you're familiar with this vendor. And then there's predetermined client stuff. So this is, if you know who you're doing stuff for, and you know what they're asking about, then you should understand that's what you need to accomplish. Still, once again, understanding all the ROI for the client and for you. Okay. Pre-existing contracts. So you have a statement of work. That's something that outlines specific services or products that are going to be delivered. Timelines, how quickly you have to respond, so performance. It's a foundational agreement and ensures that both parties understand what is expected and required. And then you have the client terms of reference. So this defines the reason for the project's being, what should be delivered, the scope, the objectives. This is from the client's perspective. It's a clear framework to understand what you need to do in the project and often how to execute it. It gives guidance. And then there's financial concepts. And understanding the differences is crucial. So capital expense is something that takes a significant amount of investment. So think about a building or a data center. If you're going to build a data center, that's a lot of money. I mean, probably on the cheap side, $10 million for an okay data center. And there's it can just balloon from there easily. And then there's the ongoing costs as well. So operational costs. So once you have a data center, for example, the electricity to keep the lights on, the maintenance of the equipment, including the maintenance of the AC, the maintenance of the cables, the servers, the racks, whatever needs to be done. Those are operational expenses. Now, one of the things that you can do in a project is you can try and say, okay, these capital expenses, do we really want them? And you can try and flip them over to operational expenses. I used the data center example. So what you can do, instead of building your own data center, you can actually leverage someone else's or go to the cloud. And then you're taking that capital expense and turning it into an operational expense because you're paying someone else's for their capital expense. And you can do a pay-as-you-go or subscription depending on and oftentimes a kind of a mixture of those two. Let me use one more example there. Let's say you're needing to dig a hole, and so you can either go out and buy a big old excavator, because it's a really big hole, maybe to put a data center in. You can buy an excavator, or you can rent one. And renting one would be an operational expense. Maybe, and also, if you don't want to buy the excavator and hire someone to operate it, you rent one with an operator. So switching it so that it's not a large upfront expense. You're just paying for what you use. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. That was a nice quick one, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.